The Beautiful Game, A Journey of Dreams and Determination. Chapter 1. The smallest player on the field. The morning sun cast long shadows across the dusty neighborhood field as 8-year-old Marcus Rivera clutched his worn-out soccer ball, watching the older boys warm up for their daily game. Barely 4 feet tall and weighing only 55 pounds, Marcus looked like a toothpick among the 12 and 13-year-olds who dominated the makeshift pitch behind the community center. "Hey, little man, you sure you want to play with us today?" called out Diego, the unofficial captain of the group. His voice wasn't mean, but it carried that tone of protective concern that Marcus had grown to despise. It was the same tone teachers used when they suggested he might be happier playing with kids his own age, the same tone his mother used when she worried about him getting hurt. Marcus nodded vigorously, his perpetual smile never wavering. "I'm ready, Diego. I've been practicing." The truth was, Marcus had been practicing, but not in the way most kids did. While other children his age were content with casual kickabouts in their backyards, Marcus spent hours each evening in his small bedroom, watching soccer videos on his older brother Carlos's laptop. He studied every movement, every technique, every strategy he could find on the grainy YouTube videos that loaded slowly on their family's unreliable internet connection. As the game began, Marcus's enthusiasm quickly met the harsh reality of playing against boys who were not only older but significantly stronger and faster. Within the first 10 minutes, he had been knocked down 3 times, lost possession of the ball countless times, and felt the familiar sting of inadequacy that seemed to follow him everywhere he went. "Maybe you should sit this one out, Marcus," suggested another player after Marcus had been easily dispossessed yet again. "You can be our water boy today." But Marcus just picked himself up, brushed the dirt off his too large jersey that had belonged to Carlos, and jogged back into position. His smile might have dimmed slightly, but it never disappeared completely. There was something inside him, a burning flame that refused to be extinguished by failure or discouragement. Chapter 2. The Video Student. That evening, Marcus sat cross-legged on his bed, Carlos's laptop balanced precariously on his thin legs. His brother, now 16 and working part-time at the local grocery store, had reluctantly agreed to let Marcus use the computer for an hour each night after finishing his homework. "What are you watching now, little brother?" Carlos asked, poking his head into their shared bedroom. "Lionel Messi highlights," Marcus replied without taking his eyes off the screen. "Look at how he moves his feet when he dribbles. See how he keeps the ball so close to his body." Carlos sat down on his own bed, watching his younger brother's intense concentration. "You know, Marcus, Messi wasn't always the best player on his team either. I read somewhere that he was really small when he was young, even smaller than you." Marcus's eyes lit up. "Really? What happened to him?" "He kept practicing. He never gave up. And look at him now, he's one of the greatest players in the world." From that night forward, Marcus's routine became sacred. Every evening after dinner, he would disappear into his room with the laptop, a notebook, and a pencil. He began documenting what he learned: how to improve his first touch, how to shield the ball from larger opponents, how to find space in crowded areas of the field. His notebook filled with diagrams and observations, written in his careful 8-year-old handwriting. He studied not just the superstars but players who had overcome physical limitations. He watched videos of players like Xavi Hernandez and Andres Iniesta, smaller players who had succeeded through intelligence, technique, and vision rather than pure physical dominance. Chapter 3: A Father's Wisdom. Marcus's father, Roberto, worked long hours as a maintenance supervisor at a local factory, but he never missed an opportunity to support his youngest son's growing passion. Roberto had played soccer in his youth back in El Salvador, though his dreams had been cut short when his family immigrated to the United States when he was 17. One Saturday morning, Roberto surprised Marcus by announcing they were going to the sports store. "But Papa, we don't have money for new cleats," Marcus protested, remembering the careful budgeting discussions he'd overheard between his parents. "We're not buying cleats today, mijo," Roberto smiled, using the affectionate Spanish term for my son. "We're buying cones." At the store, Roberto purchased a set of orange training cones and a small notebook specifically for soccer drills. "If you're going to learn from videos, you need to practice what you're learning," he explained. Every great player started with basic drills. That afternoon, Roberto set up a small training area in their backyard. It wasn't much, just a patch of grass barely 20 feet long, but to Marcus it felt like his personal training ground. "The first thing you need to understand," Roberto said, placing his weathered hands on Marcus's shoulders, "is that soccer is not just about being the biggest or the fastest. It's about being smart, having good technique, and never giving up. You have something special, Marcus. You have heart. But heart without skill won't take you far, and skill without heart won't either. You need both." Roberto began teaching Marcus the fundamentals he had learned decades earlier. They started with simple ball control exercises, juggling the ball with both feet, dribbling through the cones, practicing first touches against the back fence. Roberto's instructions were patient but precise. "Feel the ball, don't just kick it," Roberto would say. "The ball should be your friend, not your enemy. When you receive a pass, your first touch should set you up for your next move. Always think 2 steps ahead." Chapter 4: The Breakthrough Moment. Months passed, and Marcus's dedication began to show results, though they were subtle at first. His ball control improved noticeably, and he started anticipating plays better during the neighborhood games. However, he was still the smallest player, still getting knocked around and still struggling to make a significant impact. The breakthrough came on a particularly hot Tuesday afternoon in July. The older boys were playing their usual game when Marcus received the ball near the sideline, closely marked by 2 defenders who towered over him. In the past, he would have panicked and lost possession immediately. But this time was different. Marcus remembered a move he had studied obsessively from one of Messi's videos, a quick step over followed by a sharp cut in the opposite direction. As the first defender committed to the fake, Marcus shifted his weight and accelerated past him. The second defender, caught off guard by Marcus's sudden burst of speed and change of direction, stumbled slightly. For the first time in months of playing with the older boys, Marcus found himself in open space with the ball at his feet. His heart pounded as he looked up and saw Diego making a run toward the goal. Without hesitation, Marcus delivered a perfectly weighted pass that split the defense and found Diego's feet just inside the penalty area. Diego scored easily, and as he celebrated, he ran back to Marcus with a huge grin. Where did that come from, little man? That was an incredible pass. Marcus beamed with pride, but more importantly, he felt something shift inside him. For the first time, he had contributed meaningfully to the game. He had shown that size wasn't everything, that intelligence and technique could overcome physical limitations. Chapter 5 Building Confidence. Word of Marcus's improvement began to spread around the neighborhood. The older boys started looking for him when they needed an extra player, and gradually they began treating him less like a charity case and more like a legitimate teammate. Roberto noticed the change in his son's demeanor. Marcus walked taller, spoke more confidently about soccer, and spent even more time studying videos and practicing in the backyard. But Roberto also recognized that his son needed more structured training if he was going to continue improving. Marcus, Roberto said one evening after dinner, I think it's time you joined a real team. Marcus's eyes widened. But Papa, those teams cost money. And I'm still smaller than everyone else. Let me worry about the money, Roberto replied. As for being smaller, remember what I told you, soccer is about more than size. Besides, you're getting stronger every day. It was true. Marcus's daily training routine had begun to pay dividends beyond just his technical skills. While he was still small for his age, his body was becoming more athletic. Constant running, the agility work through the cones, and the endless hours of ball work were building lean muscle and improving his coordination. Roberto had been saving money for months, setting aside small amounts from each paycheck. He had also been researching local youth soccer programs, looking for one that emphasized skill development over just winning games. Chapter 6 The Real Test. The Riverside Youth Soccer Club held tryouts every August for their various age groups. Roberto had registered Marcus for the under-10 team, even though Marcus had just turned 9. Coach, a former college player named Sarah Martinez, was known for giving every child a fair chance regardless of their background or physical attributes. The night before tryouts, Marcus could barely sleep. He lay in bed reviewing everything he had learned over the past year, the technical skills from the videos, the tactical knowledge from his notebook, and the mental toughness his father had instilled in him. Remember, Mijo, Roberto had told him earlier that evening, tomorrow is not about being perfect. It's about showing them your heart and your willingness to learn. Play your game, be smart, and never stop trying. The tryout field was intimidating. Dozens of boys Marcus's age and older were warming up, many of them wearing expensive cleats and club jerseys from previous teams. Marcus looked down at his simple, black cleats, a birthday gift from his parents, and his plain white t-shirt, and felt a familiar flutter of self-doubt. But then he remembered all those afternoons getting knocked down by the older boys in the neighborhood, all those evenings studying videos until his eyes hurt, all those mornings practicing with his father before school. He had earned his place here through dedication and hard work. Coach Martinez divided the boys into groups for various drills. Marcus found himself grouped with players who were noticeably taller and more physically developed. First drill was simple ball juggling, keeping the ball in the air using only feet, thighs, and head. Many of the boys struggled to keep the ball up for more than 10 or 15 touches. Marcus, however, had been practicing juggling religiously for months. He easily managed 50 touches, then 75, then over 100 before Coach Martinez blew her whistle to move on to the next drill. "Nice control," she said to Marcus as they transitioned. "How long have you been playing organized soccer?" "This is my first tryout, Coach," Marcus replied honestly. Coach Martinez raised her eyebrows in surprise but said nothing more. Chapter 7, Proving Himself. The scrimmage portion of the tryout was where Marcus truly shone. Placed on a team with several boys who clearly had more experience in organized soccer, Marcus initially hung back, trying to get a feel for the pace and style of play. It was different from the chaotic neighborhood games he was used to. There was more structure, more passing, more tactical awareness. But Marcus's months of video study had prepared him for this. He recognized the patterns, understood the positioning, and most importantly, he knew how to find space. Midway through the first half of the scrimmage, Marcus received a pass near midfield while being pressured by a defender who was at least 6 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. Instead of trying to dribble past him, Marcus used a technique he had learned from watching Xavi. He played a quick 1-2 pass with a teammate, using the defender's momentum against him to create space. The move worked perfectly, and Marcus found himself with time and space to survey the field. He spotted a teammate making a run down the right wing and delivered a precise through ball that split the defense. Cross that followed led to a goal, and Marcus's teammates began to take notice of the small boy who seemed to see the game differently than everyone else. By the end of the scrimmage, Marcus had assisted 2 goals and nearly scored one himself with a clever chip shot that just missed the crossbar. More importantly, he had shown that he belonged on the field with these players. Chapter 8, Making the team. 3 days after the tryout, Roberto's phone rang while he was at work. It was Coach Martinez. "Mr. Rivera, I'd like to offer Marcus a spot on our under-10 team," she said. "He showed excellent technical skills and soccer intelligence during the tryout. I think he has a lot of potential." When Roberto shared the news with Marcus that evening, his son's reaction was pure joy. He jumped up from the dinner table and hugged his father so tightly that Roberto had to laugh. "I made it, Papa. I really made it." "You earned it, Mijo," Roberto replied. "But this is just the beginning. Now the real work starts." Roberto was right. Playing for Riverside Youth Soccer was a significant step up from neighborhood games. Practices were more intense, the games more competitive, and the expectations higher. Marcus found himself challenged in new ways, both physically and mentally. His first few practices were humbling experiences. While his technical skills were solid, his physical conditioning lagged behind his teammates. He struggled to maintain his energy level throughout the full 90-minute practice sessions, and he found himself getting pushed around more than he had expected. But Marcus's response to these challenges was characteristic. He smiled, worked harder, and refused to give up. Chapter 9, The Growth Mindset. Coach Martinez quickly recognized that Marcus was different from many of her other players. While some of the boys became frustrated when they made mistakes or struggled with new concepts, Marcus approached every challenge as a learning opportunity. "Marcus, I want you to work on your weak foot," Coach Martinez told him after a practice where he had consistently favored his right foot. Great players can use both feet equally well. That evening, Marcus set up cones in his backyard and spent an hour working exclusively with his left foot. It was frustrating at first. Passes that would have been crisp and accurate with his right foot were clumsy and misdirected with his left. But Marcus persisted, remembering his father's words about the importance of continuous improvement. Roberto watched from the kitchen window as his son practiced in the fading daylight, occasionally offering encouragement or technical advice. He was proud of Marcus's dedication, but he was even more proud of his son's attitude toward failure and improvement. "You know what I love about you, Marcus?" Roberto said as they walked back into the house together. "You never make excuses. When someone tells you to improve something, you don't complain or say it's too hard. You just get to work." This growth mindset served Marcus well as the season progressed. When Coach Martinez suggested he needed to improve his speed, Marcus began incorporating sprint intervals into his training routine. When she pointed out that his defensive positioning needed work, Marcus studied videos of defensive midfielders and practiced his positioning during backyard sessions with Roberto. Chapter 10. The first goal. Marcus's first goal for Riverside Youth Soccer came in the team's fifth game of the season, against their cross-town rivals, the East Side Eagles. The Eagles were known for their physical, aggressive style of play, and many of Marcus's teammates were intimidated by their reputation. The game was scoreless at halftime, with both teams creating few clear scoring opportunities. Marcus had played well, completing several key passes and helping his team maintain possession, but he hadn't been able to create the breakthrough moment his team needed. Early in the second half, Marcus received a pass about 25 yards from goal. The Eagles' defense had been focusing on Riverside's bigger, more physical forwards, and they didn't pay much attention to the small midfielder who had been quietly orchestrating play all game. Marcus took a touch to control the ball, looked up to assess his options, and noticed that the goalkeeper was positioned slightly off his line. Without hesitation, Marcus struck the ball with his right foot, aiming for the far corner of the goal. The ball sailed over the goalkeeper's outstretched hands and nestled into the top corner of the net. For a moment, there was silence as everyone processed what had just happened. Then Marcus's teammates erupted in celebration, mobbing the small boy who had just scored one of the most spectacular goals any of them had ever seen. Roberto, watching from the sideline, felt tears welling up in his eyes. This was the moment he had dreamed of since Marcus first picked up a soccer ball, the moment when all the hours of practice and encouragement paid off in the most beautiful way possible. Chapter 11. Recognition and growth. Marcus's goal against Eastside was featured in the local newspaper's sports section, complete with a photo of his celebration. The headline read, "Small player, big dreams." 9-year-old Rivera shows size isn't everything. The attention was flattering, but Marcus remained focused on improvement. He continued his rigorous training routine, spending hours each week working on different aspects of his game. His notebook, now in its second volume, was filled with observations about professional players, tactical diagrams, and personal goals. Coach Martinez began giving Marcus more responsibility on the team, often asking him to play in a deeper midfield role where his vision and passing ability could have maximum impact. Marcus thrived in this position, becoming the team's primary playmaker and earning the respect of teammates who had initially doubted whether such a small player could contribute meaningfully. By the end of his first season with Riverside, Marcus had scored 6 goals and assisted 12 others, impressive numbers for a player who was younger and smaller than most of his opponents. More importantly, he had proven to himself that he belonged at this level of competition. Chapter 12: The Next Level. As Marcus entered his second year with Riverside Youth Soccer, now playing for the under-11 team, he faced new challenges. The level of competition had increased significantly, and many of his opponents were not only older and bigger but also more technically skilled than the players he had faced the previous year. Roberto noticed that Marcus seemed more serious about his training, more focused on the details of his development. Playful 8-year-old who had started this journey was evolving into a dedicated young athlete with clear goals and ambitions. "Papa," Marcus said one evening after practice, "Coach Martinez thinks I should start training with the under-12 team sometimes. She says it will help me develop faster." Roberto smiled. "What do you think about that?" "I'm nervous," Marcus admitted. "Those players are really good. But I remember what you told me about always challenging myself. I think I should try it." Training with older, more skilled players pushed Marcus to elevate his game even further. He had to think faster, move quicker, and be more precise with his technical execution. The experience was challenging but invaluable, forcing him to develop the mental toughness and adaptability that would serve him well in the years to come. Chapter 13: The Scholarship Opportunity. During Marcus's third season with Riverside, when he was 11 years old, a scout from the prestigious Metro Soccer Academy attended one of the team's games. Metro was known throughout the region for developing professional players, and earning a spot in their program was considered a pathway to high-level soccer. Marcus was unaware of the scout's presence as he played one of the best games of his young career. He scored twice and assisted 3 more goals in a 6-1 victory, demonstrating not only his technical skills but also his leadership qualities as he encouraged teammates and made tactical adjustments throughout the game. After the game, the scout approached Coach Martinez and asked about the small midfielder who seemed to control the entire game. "That's Marcus Rivera," Coach Martinez replied. "He's special. I've never coached a player with his combination of technical ability, soccer intelligence, and work ethic." 2 weeks later, Roberto received a phone call that would change Marcus's life. Metro Soccer Academy was offering Marcus a partial scholarship to join their program, which included professional-level coaching, strength and conditioning programs, and academic support. The family held a long discussion that evening about the opportunity. The scholarship covered most of the costs, but there would still be significant expenses for equipment, travel, and other fees. More importantly, the time commitment would be substantial: practices 4 times per week plus games on weekends. "What do you want to do, Marcus?" Roberto asked his son. Marcus's answer came without hesitation: "I want to be the best soccer player I can be, Papa. If this program can help me get there, then I want to do it." Chapter 14: The Academy Challenge. Marcus's first day at Metro Soccer Academy was both exciting and intimidating. The facility was unlike anything he had ever seen: multiple full-size fields with perfect grass, a state-of-the-art gymnasium, and training equipment that looked like it belonged in a professional club. His new teammates were impressive as well. Many of them had been playing organized soccer since they were very young, and several had already been identified as potential future professionals. Marcus felt small and inexperienced in comparison, but he reminded himself of all the challenges he had already overcome. Coaching at Metro was more demanding than anything Marcus had experienced. The technical standards were higher, the tactical concepts more complex, and the physical demands more intense. During his first week, Marcus struggled to keep up with some of the training exercises, particularly those that required significant upper body strength. But Marcus's response was predictable. He worked harder. He arrived early for training sessions to get extra touches on the ball. He stayed late to work on his fitness. He filled yet another notebook with tactical concepts and training exercises he wanted to practice at home. Roberto adjusted his work schedule to accommodate Marcus's training demands, often driving him to practice before heading to his own job. The financial strain was significant, but Roberto never complained. He could see that his son was developing not just as a soccer player but as a young man with discipline, dedication, and dreams. Chapter 15: The Growth Spurt. When Marcus turned 13, something remarkable happened. He finally began to grow. Through years of being the smallest player on every team, Marcus experienced a growth spurt that added 4 inches to his height and 15 pounds to his frame over the course of 8 months. The physical changes transformed Marcus's game in unexpected ways. He was still technically excellent and tactically intelligent, but now he had the physical tools to compete more effectively with his peers. His shots had more power, his tackles were more effective, and he could win aerial duels that would have been impossible just months earlier. Coach Rodriguez, Metro's head coach for Marcus's age group, noticed the transformation immediately. "Marcus, you're becoming a complete player," he told him after a particularly impressive training session. "You've always had the technical skills and the soccer brain. Now you're developing the physical attributes to match. That's a dangerous combination." Marcus's confidence grew along with his body. He began taking on more leadership responsibilities within the team, often serving as captain during games and training sessions. His teammates respected not only his abilities but also his work ethic and positive attitude. Chapter 16: The State Championship. Marcus's team at Metro Soccer Academy qualified for the state championship tournament during his 14th year. It was the culmination of years of hard work and development, and Marcus was determined to make the most of the opportunity. Tournament format was unforgiving: single elimination games over 4 days, with the winner earning the right to represent the state at the national championship tournament. Marcus's team was seeded third, behind 2 clubs with stronger reputations and more resources. In the quarterfinal game, Marcus scored the winning goal in the 89th minute, a perfectly placed free kick from 22 yards that curled around the defensive wall and into the top corner. The goal was the result of countless hours practicing set pieces with Roberto in their backyard, and it demonstrated how far Marcus had come from the undersized boy who used to get knocked around in neighborhood games. The semi-final was even more dramatic. Marcus's team fell behind 2-0 in the first half against a physically imposing opponent that seemed determined to intimidate them. But Marcus refused to be intimidated. He rallied his teammates during halftime, reminding them of all the work they had put in to reach this point. "We didn't come this far to give up now," he told them. We're technically better than they are. We just need to play our game and believe in ourselves. Marcus led by example in the second half, scoring once and assisting twice as his team mounted a remarkable comeback to win 3-2. The victory earned them a spot in the state championship final, where they would face the defending champions. Chapter 17 The Championship Final The state championship final was played at the State University's soccer stadium in front of nearly 3,000 spectators. For Marcus, who had started his soccer journey on a dusty neighborhood field with makeshift goals, the setting was almost surreal. Roberto sat in the stands with tears in his eyes, remembering the 8-year-old boy who used to practice juggling in their tiny backyard. Carlos, now in college on an academic scholarship, had driven 3 hours to watch his little brother play in the biggest game of his young career. The game itself was a tactical chess match between two well-coached teams. Marcus's opponents had clearly studied video of his previous games and were determined not to give him time and space on the ball. They assigned their best defender to mark him closely and instructed their midfielders to pressure him immediately whenever he received possession. For 60 minutes, the strategy worked. Marcus was frustrated by the constant attention, and his team struggled to create clear scoring opportunities. They trailed 1-0 as the game entered its final phase, and Marcus could sense his teammates beginning to lose hope. But Marcus had learned long ago that soccer games are won and lost in moments, and champions are defined by how they respond to adversity. In the 73rd minute, he received a pass near the center circle with his back to goal and two defenders closing in on him. Instead of trying to turn and face the goal, Marcus played a quick heel pass to a teammate who had made an overlapping run. The move caught the defense off guard and created a 3-on-2 situation in the attacking third. Marcus immediately sprinted forward to support the attack, arriving in the penalty area just as his teammate's cross found him unmarked at the far post. The finish was simple, a side-footed volley into the bottom corner that sent Marcus's teammates and supporters into wild celebration. The goal tied the game 1-1 and shifted the momentum completely in favor of Marcus's team. With 5 minutes remaining, Marcus struck again. This time, he intercepted a lazy pass from the opposing team's defender and found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Marcus had practiced this situation thousands of times in training, and his finish was clinical, a low shot to the goalkeeper's left that nestled into the corner of the net. The 2-1 victory gave Marcus's team the state championship and earned them a trip to the national tournament. More importantly for Marcus, it validated years of hard work and sacrifice by his entire family. Chapter 18 College Recruitment By the time Marcus turned 16, college scouts were regular fixtures at his games. His combination of technical skill, tactical intelligence, and leadership qualities had made him one of the most sought-after players in his age group. The recruitment process was overwhelming at first. Phone calls from college coaches, official visit invitations, and scholarship offers created a whirlwind of activity that Marcus had never experienced before. Roberto, who had never attended college himself, felt out of his depth navigating the complex world of collegiate athletics. Fortunately, Coach Rodriguez at Metro Soccer Academy had extensive experience helping players through the recruitment process. He sat down with Marcus and Roberto to discuss the various options and help them understand what each opportunity might mean for Marcus's future. The most important thing, Coach Rodriguez explained, is to find a program that fits Marcus both academically and athletically. He's good enough to play at the highest level of college soccer, but he also needs to think about his education and his long-term goals. Marcus ultimately narrowed his choices to 3 universities: a prestigious academic institution with a strong soccer program, a soccer powerhouse known for developing professional players, and a state university closer to home that offered a full scholarship and the opportunity to play immediately. The decision was difficult, but Marcus's choice reflected the maturity and thoughtfulness he had developed over years of facing challenges and making sacrifices for his soccer dreams. He chose the prestigious academic institution, reasoning that a high-quality education would serve him well regardless of whether his professional soccer dreams materialized. Chapter 19: College Success. Marcus's college career exceeded even his own optimistic expectations. He earned a starting position as a freshman, becoming the youngest player ever to captain the university's soccer team. His impact was immediate and significant. The team won their conference championship in his first year and advanced to the NCAA tournament's Elite Eight. College games suited Marcus perfectly. The tactical sophistication and technical demands played to his strengths, while the physical nature of the competition no longer intimidated him as it had when he was younger. He had grown to 5 feet 8 inches and 155 pounds, still not the biggest player on the field, but no longer at a significant disadvantage. Roberto attended every home game and as many away games as his work schedule allowed. Watching Marcus play at this level, surrounded by other exceptional players and coached by professionals, filled Roberto with pride and amazement. The journey from their backyard training sessions to college soccer had been long and challenging, but every sacrifice had been worthwhile. During his sophomore year, Marcus was named to the All-American team and began attracting attention from professional scouts. Major League Soccer teams and even some international clubs sent representatives to watch him play. Possibility of a professional career, which had once seemed like an impossible dream, was becoming increasingly realistic. Chapter 20: The professional dream. Marcus's junior year was interrupted by an opportunity that would have been unthinkable just a few years earlier. A Major League Soccer team offered him a contract to turn professional immediately, foregoing his senior year of college to begin his career as a paid athlete. The decision was agonizing. Marcus was just 1 year away from earning his degree, and he had always promised his parents that education would remain a priority regardless of his soccer success. But the professional opportunity was exactly what he had dreamed of since those early days watching videos on Carlos's laptop. Through extensive discussions with his family, his college coach, and his advisors, Marcus made a decision that reflected both his ambition and his values. He would sign the professional contract but continue taking classes during the off-season to complete his degree. It would require additional sacrifice and time management, but Marcus had never shied away from hard work. Press conference announcing Marcus's signing was held at the MLS team's training facility. As he sat at the table wearing his new team's jersey, Marcus thought about the incredible journey that had brought him to this moment. From the undersized 8-year-old who used to get knocked around in neighborhood games to a professional soccer player, it seemed almost impossible, but it was real. Roberto sat in the front row of the press conference, wearing his best suit and trying not to cry as his son answered questions from reporters. When one journalist asked Marcus about the key to his success, his answer was immediate and heartfelt. "My father always told me that soccer is about more than being the biggest or the fastest," Marcus said. It's about having heart, working hard, and never giving up on your dreams. I've been lucky to have people in my life who believed in me even when I was small and struggling. This is for all of them, especially my dad, who spent countless hours helping me become the player and person I am today. Epilogue: The beautiful game continues. Marcus's professional career flourished over the following years. He became a key player for his MLS team, earning multiple All-Star selections and helping lead them to a championship. His success opened doors to international opportunities, and he eventually earned caps with the national team. But perhaps more importantly, Marcus never forgot the lessons he learned during his journey from neighborhood fields to professional stadiums. He established a youth soccer program in his hometown, providing equipment, coaching, and scholarships to children who might not otherwise have access to quality soccer instruction. Roberto, now in his 50s, often visited the youth program to watch Marcus work with young players. He saw his son teaching the same lessons he had learned years earlier: that size and natural talent are less important than dedication and perseverance, that failure is an opportunity to learn and improve, and that dreams are achievable for those willing to work for them. The program's motto, painted on a banner that hung in the training facility, captured the essence of Marcus's journey. It's not about where you start, it's about how far you're willing to go. On quiet evenings, Marcus would sometimes return to his childhood home and practice in the same backyard where Roberto had first set up training cones all those years ago. The space seemed smaller now, but the memories were as vivid as ever. He would juggle the ball, work on his touches, and remember the 8-year-old boy who had refused to give up despite being the smallest player on every field. The beautiful game had given Marcus everything he had dreamed of and more. But more than the trophies, the contracts, or the recognition, soccer had taught him that with enough persistence, determination, and support from those who believe in you, any dream is possible, no matter how impossible it might seem at the beginning. As Marcus often told the young players in his program, echoing the wisdom his father had shared with him years earlier, soccer will teach you about life. It will knock you down, challenge you, and test your resolve. But if you keep getting back up, keep working to improve, and never lose sight of your dreams, the beautiful game will reward you in ways you never imagined possible. The story of Marcus Rivera serves as a testament to the power of persistence, the importance of family support, and the truth that in soccer, as in life, heart and determination can overcome any obstacle. From the dusty neighborhood field where it all began to the bright lights of professional stadiums, Marcus's journey proves that dreams really can come true for those brave enough to chase them and strong enough to never give up. This story spans over 10,000 characters and captures the complete journey of a young boy's transformation from an undersized, struggling player to a professional soccer star through persistence, family support, continuous learning, and an unwavering positive attitude. The narrative emphasizes the themes requested: overcoming physical limitations, learning through video study and family guidance, and the crucial role of a supportive father in nurturing both athletic and personal development.